All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about one of the smallest creatures on the planet, the bee. But what's fascinating is how this tiny insect is seen as this powerful, incredible sign of divine wisdom. So let's get into it.
Okay, let me just start with this question. Did you know a tiny little insect has an entire chapter of the Quran named after it? I mean, a whole chapter. When you stop and think about that, it's pretty incredible.
And that chapter is called Surah An-Nahl, which in Arabic, yep, you guessed it, means the bee. This isn't just some footnote or a quick mention. No, this is a place of real honor, a signal that we're supposed to pay attention, that there's some deep, deep wisdom we can learn from this creature. So, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna unpack the bee's wisdom, and we'll look at it from two different angles, through the lens of faith and through the lens of modern science, and you'll see how beautifully they line up.
Okay, first up, let's take a look inside the hive itself, because this is where the magic happens, right? It's a place where we get to see the bee's absolutely stunning abilities, where divine inspiration and, well, pure scientific brilliance seem to become one and the same.
You know, the Quran uses a really specific word here. It says that God inspired the bee. Now, that's not talking about learned behavior or trial and error. It suggests something much deeper, a kind of direct guidance, something programmed right into its very being. And here is a perfect example of what that inspiration looks like in the real world. Check this out, the hexagonal structure of the honeycomb. Now, this isn't just some random pretty pattern. Oh no. It is mathematically the single most efficient shape possible for the job. Think about it. If they use circles or squares, you'd have all these weird gaps, or you'd waste a ton of wax. This is a perfect design.
In fact, the design is so perfect that we humans, with all our technology, we use this exact same principle today. It's called tessellation, fitting shapes together perfectly with no gaps. We use it to create strong, super efficient structures. And the amazing part? The bee was doing it long, long before we ever figured it out. And the wonders just keep coming. It doesn't stop there. Bees have one of the most sophisticated, mind-blowing communication systems in the entire animal kingdom. It's called the waggle dance. And get this, through a series of little wiggles and turns, a bee can tell its hive mates the exact direction and the precise distance to a new patch of flowers. No maps, no GPS, nothing. Just pure, built-in genius.
All right, so let's shift gears and talk about the amazing thing bees produce, honey. And it's so much more than just a sweet treat. It's really seen as this incredible gift, a natural cure that's recognized in both ancient scripture and modern science.
The Quran is actually really direct about this. It says that from the bellies of bees comes a drink, and in that drink, there is healing for people. I mean, that's not a suggestion, right? It's stated as a fact. It's presented as a sign for people who take a moment to think about it.
And this is where science just completely validates that ancient wisdom. Modern research confirms that honey is an absolute powerhouse. It's antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory, it's jam-packed with antioxidants. For centuries, people have used it to heal wounds, and today we know it helps boost our immune systems. It's the real deal.
So the honey is incredible, for sure. But the bee's contribution is actually way bigger than that. So now we're going to zoom out, way out from the hive, to see just how critical the bee's role is for, well, the entire planet.
Just take a look at this number for a second. 70%. Just let that sit there. What do you think that could possibly be about?
That number, 70%. That's the percentage of the world's major food crops that depend on pollinators like the bee. We're talking about apples, almonds, coffee. So much of the food on your plate exists because of the tireless, non-stop work of bees. They are an absolutely fundamental pillar of our entire global food supply.
Okay, so this brings us to the big takeaway, the reflection. After seeing all of this, the incredible inspiration, the scientific genius, the massive global impact, what are the lessons that we can learn from this tiny, tiny creature?
I mean, when you really look at a bee, you see a life that's lived with just incredible structure. There's this perfect organization in the hive. Every single bee has a clear purpose. And there's this unwavering discipline to get the work done, not for themselves, but for the good of the whole community.
And that just naturally leads to the big question, right? So, what about us? We've been given so much more. The capacity for deep thought, free will. Do we live our lives with that same kind of focus? That same sense of purpose and discipline?
So if you really boil it all down, the bee models 3 really powerful principles for us. Number 1, work hard. Be productive. Number 2,
live in unity, where the good of the whole group comes first. And number 3, trust in the guidance you've been given, just like the bee trusts its own built-in inspiration.
And that kind of leaves us with this one final, massive thought to chew on. If a tiny insect, guided just by inspiration, can build perfect structures and literally sustain our world, what are we capable of? What could we achieve if we lived with that same kind of purpose? It's an incredible thing to think about.